Former first-round pick Isaiah Simmons is coming back to the desert, but not playing for the Cardinals. Week 2 matchup, Arizona Cardinals versus the New York Giants. What to expect, and who's going to come out with the win? Let's dive right into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. Follow me on all my social platforms. Everything will be in the description below. All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about week 2 matchup, Cardinals versus the Giants. Now, I think a lot of people nationally have been very surprised with the play of the Arizona Cardinals in week 1. We put a valiant effort out there, right? Especially the defensive side of the ball. Now, we're only coming into week 2 with our quarterback, Joshua Dobbs, having another week under his belt. So, he's got to be better, right? So we're rolling with Joshua Dobbs heading into week 2. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. Hopefully our offense can look a lot better. But looking into the injury report here for the Arizona Cardinals, we do have a few people that, there's a little concerns with. James Conner as well as LJ Collier, Josh Woods as well. Now there is other people out there like Licky Fotu as well as Kelvin Beachum. They were both seen as a limited fashion. I think they'll be fine. They most likely will be playing here on Sunday. But as of right now, obviously when we're recording this on Thursday, a lot of things can change from Thursday to Sunday. So TBD on that. Now on the other side of the ball, the injury report for the Giants, they got a lot of people on there, right? Darren Waller as well as Andrew Thomas and a few other people here that are listed as limited on their end. So we'll have to kind of wait and see and watch very, very closely on the injury report, especially for Darren Waller, their tight end, which seemed to be the guy that got the most receiving yards in week 1. Now, talking a little bit, obviously, about week 1, the Cardinals did better than most people think, right? Looking at week 1 for the Giants, man, they absolutely got blown out by the Dallas Cowboys. Now, what are we going to see here, right? Are we going to see a Giants team that is going to be licking their chops and try to absolutely dominate the Arizona Cardinals from being embarrassed from Sunday Night Football? If you really take a look at it here, our defense, which is the Cardinals defense, forced 6 sacks on Sam Howell. They were wreaking havoc on him any which way. Now, if this is the case where in their injury report, they have Thomas, which is their offensive lineman, one of their top offensive linemen. If he doesn't go, man, that only helps the Arizona Cardinals defensive line, which we've been eating out there. So I really do hope the Arizona Cardinals can continue the pressure that we were doing in week 1 and translating that into week 2 against the New York Giants. So let's talk about this matchup, what I want to see in this game. I think the number one thing most Cardinal fans want to see is our offense moving the ball down the field. And not only that, we want to see a offensive touchdown. Like the Arizona Cardinals had a total of, I believe it was 16 points on week 1. All those points came from special teams, and we also had a scoop and score touchdown from our defense. So we want to see some offensive touchdowns, running the ball, throwing the ball. We don't care how it comes. Maybe James Conner can get a good load of that run game, and hopefully Joshua Dobbs can just get better with another week under his belt. So that's one thing I definitely want to see for the Cardinals is just better offensive production, because our defense balled the heck out, and they allowed the Cardinals to stay in that game for as long as they did because of that defense. They did a very, very good job over there. So definitely something I want to see. Offensive side of the ball get a lot better. Another thing I want to see is pressure on Daniel Jones. Man, this guy was rattled. He was rattled in week 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, yes, there is something to be said about the idea of a division game. You never know what's going to happen in a division game, right? But taking a look here at the stats, we have how many? It was what? 2 interceptions on Daniel Jones. He didn't have a good game, right? Let's take a look at the sacks here. Wow, he got over 5 sacks. Just pressure on pressure on pressure on Daniel Jones. And if the Cardinals can deliver that same type of performance that we did in week 1, it might be game over here for the New York Giants. Now, please keep in mind here, any given Sunday, anything can happen. It all just really depends on matchups and obviously who wins their matchup individually and as a team heading into this into the Sunday's game. But I'm excited. I truly do think that heading into this season before week 1, I was a little bit more worried about the Giants compared to now going into week 2. I'm not really that worried about Daniel Jones and the New York Giants, because if you take a look at their depth chart, and this is no hate at all, right? Like the Cardinals really have we really don't have a spot to be like egotistical right now, but I'm really looking at the depth chart right now. Their wide receiving core, I'm not really fearing any of those wide receivers, truly, right? They got Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell, Darius Slayton, which I like Darius Slayton, but like he's not as consistent as New York Giants fans want him to be, right? Like, their main two weapons are Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller, their tight end, which is listed as questionable right now. So the Cardinals can possibly sneak out a win here, right? Now, obviously, the New York Giants fans right now, they're absolutely pissed. They do not want to be embarrassed again. Now, imagine the Cardinals going, into this game and coming out with the win. A team that's supposed to be tanking and taking down a New York Giants team that's just paid their franchise quarterback a lot of money. Giants fans aren't going to be happy at all. Obviously, one of the biggest storylines is Isaiah Simmons coming back to the desert. What is he going to do? Does he have a chip on his shoulder? Because week 1 didn't really look so good for the Giants in general, so you can't really hold that too much on Isaiah Simmons, but that is another big storyline out there on what Isaiah Simmons is going to do with this defense. So there's a lot of kind of storylines to really follow in this game, but I truly do think the Cardinals can come out with a win here. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are going to absolutely obliterate them like the Cowboys did, right? 40-0 is absolutely crazy. I don't think the Cardinals are going to do anything like that. I don't think the Giants are going to get shut out either. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. I think it might be like a 21-17, let's say 17-14 type of game. But I do think the Cardinals, as long as we can get our offense going, man, sky's the limit, right? Sky's the limit. Now, you also got to keep in mind here that Joshua Dobbs, when he came into week 1, he only had about, 10 days under his belt in terms of trying to learn this offense and trying to get into the groove of getting chemistry with these wide receivers / tight ends and running backs. So getting another week under his belt, we're all hoping for that next step, and hopefully our offense looking a lot better, right? Compared to week 1 especially. So we'll see. I think this is a winnable game here for the Arizona Cardinals. I do think that, they are going to put up points. I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I just don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think, obviously, Joshua Dobbs is a great quarterback, but he's a game manager. And as long as he can maintain not turning over the ball as much he did in week 1, I think this can very well be a possibility win for the Cardinals here. Continuing to look here on week 1 versus the Giants, I do see Tony Pollard rush the ball, 14 times, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. It seems like most of their touchdowns either came from their defense, special teams, or their run game. Like Dak Prescott didn't really have to do anything at all. Like, he didn't have to do anything for that team to win. So, like I said earlier, any given Sunday, just because they got absolutely obliterated by the Cowboys doesn't mean that we're going to go ahead and beat them like that as well. But definitely a winnable game here for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, like I mentioned here, the only kind of real people that I kind of fear for the Giants, and I'm only talking about the offensive side of the ball because I do know that they do got some ballers. They got some really good talented players on the defensive side of the ball for the Giants. But I'm talking about just specifically for the offense, Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller. That's it. That's really kind of all I fear for the Giants. So definitely a winnable game. What I don't want to see, obviously Saquon Barkley taking over the game. I don't want to see that, because if he does, this could be a long game for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, not just Saquon Barkley, but just that run game in general, right? Because they got Saquon Barkley, they got Matt Breida, as well as Gary Brightwell. Now, I don't really know Gary Brightwell, but I do know Matt Breida because he spent some time with the San Francisco 49ers, and he's actually a really good running back. Obviously, a 1-2 punch from Saquon. You're going to be seeing Saquon a lot more than Matt Breida, but we don't want this run game to take over, because if they do take over, the Cardinals are going to be in a world of hurt. We need to make sure that our offense sustains drives, because our defense is doing a very good job, and man, they did a very good job in week 1, but we don't want to always have to depend on them to stop them from scoring, as well as having them score the points, right, over the offense. So a lot of things to obviously kind of look into, but I definitely do think that this is to be a winnable game. If the Cardinals do by any chance lose this game, but we actually fight really hard, all we can really go ahead and say is that, hey, we're taking the next steps here, but eventually the Cardinals are going to have to win a game here, and I think this is going to be one of the most winnable games, because if you take a look at the next 2 games, we got the Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. Those are 2 tough games, ladies and gentlemen. So this right here might be our opportunity to actually get a win in the win column. Can we win against the Cowboys? Let's talk about that next week. Can we win against the 49ers? It's a division game. We don't know. But this right here might be the most winnable game here for the Cardinals moving forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts here about this game, Giants versus Cardinals, this coming Sunday? Let me know here in the comments below. I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.